know exactly how to talk to black men, no matter whether they're in a CEO suite or no matter whether they're on a basketball court. You can handle them. If you were in a room full of white men, could you do the same thing?
Absolutely. I've done the same.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's, I was at an event in Sioux Falls, so there were no brothers out there hardly.
No.
And as I was speaking, I never forgot it. The Most High was like, look into this audience. Almost every white brother there was leaning forward.
Mm-hmm.
I used to think the issues that I dealt with was just black issues. And all that is some that are uniquely us.
Mm-hmm.
What we're struggling with as men is universal almost.
Right.
You know, and so, I've counseled many of different backgrounds, and it's the same.
It's not a race thing.
It's not. It's the same. It's the same pain. It's the same insecurities, the same misleading mantras.
Right.
No pain, no gain. I heard that. He heard that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's about, seeing past that. Of course, culture is important.
Culture is important.
It's very important to understand culture and background, but the principles of why we're affected are the same.
I think there's often a lot of pressure applied to non-black men to not show feelings because it's a cultural predisposition.
I remember I had an opportunity to work with a multicultural group for the Cave of Adullam at my son's school, and I never forget this one kid. He said that we have emotional check-in where you can express your emotions at the beginning of training. He says, well, this is new for me, Mr. Wilson, because I'm told I shouldn't have any problems because where we stay and the type of cars we have, and
right.
The investments I have, and mom is happy, and because he's a white kid, it's like it should be okay. So I call it an expectation placed that they can't fail. Mm-hmm. So a friend of mine who was a banker, I trained in Aikido Jutsu, but he had told me, he says, Jason, this is why you'll see a banker get fired, highly qualified to get another job, but goes home and kills himself or even kills himself and his family. Mm-hmm. Because that they feel that they can't fail, can't express it. And where do you go now? How did you fail? The condemnation, the shame. You had everything set up for you, Johnny. Mm-hmm. How did you blow this? And so when you give these men, I've done it, when they have opportunity to talk, break down. I had a gentleman from, it wasn't Poland, it was popular wrestling country. It escaped me now. I'm in the gym, Bishop. And he comes over to me, eyes bloodshot red, big guy. And I'm like, what is this about? He grabs both of my arms. He says, I just watched you and Joe Rogan episode.
Yes.
And he did like this, and he says, thank you. And the emotions was coming out. Different background, same pain.
I learned it by watching veterans. When you're in the foxhole together, we're wearing the same uniform, the color fades away. Okay. There is an affinity that develops in crisis, whether you're in a rehab center or a youth detention center, there is an affinity. But even in a corporate space, if we ever get past what other people think, we would find that there's more to unite us than there is to divide us.
Yes.
Yeah, and that even though we express things different culturally, that they have the same core,
yes,
same pain, same problem, same understanding. I say that for all of my listeners that may not share a gang situation, but they may not even have an absent father. They may have a distracted father.
Good.
Okay.
Yes.
He was there, but he wasn't there.
He wasn't there. That's
yeah,
good.
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, they may have had a mother who ran the 4-H club and they baked the Girl Scout cookies, but didn't really bring that home to them in the way that they needed it. What I'm saying is pain is not prejudice.
Yes.
And that is universal. And so the opportunity to minister across the board is very, very important.
Yes, it is.
No matter what your background is, where you came from, it is my hope that you can get the strength to turn the page to go into your next chapter, because next can be so frightening. I'll close with this. Our numerical system is quite interesting. Whether you got $10 or $1 million, $1 million is just a collection of dimes, because 10 is as high as you can go. And once you get to 10, if you have to go back to 1 again on the next level to hit 11. And then you get to 20, you got to go back to 1 again. So we keep having to enter into worlds where we are recycling ourselves, and the atmosphere is foreign, and the rules are not clear, and we don't know whether we're going to be accepted or not. And by the time we get used to it and we climb up the ladder and we get really good at that, then life throws us in another room where we enter into the room of uncertainty again. And I think when you say, give us this day our daily bread, it is because we continually find ourselves recycling newness and beginning, and newness is frightening, and it's uncomfortable, and it's scary, and yet it's exhilarating. And if you get used to it, if you learn how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, it's almost addictive to have that feeling, because your innovation and your creativity is at its peak when you are uncertain.
Yes.
When you're uncertain, that's when we really get creative. When you're uncertain, that's when we really stay up reading late at night. When you're uncertain, that's when you put the most thought into what am I going to wear. When you're uncertain, that's when you really start thinking of creative ways to reach your goal. Some people respond to that by staying at 9 because it's safe. When they could be 31 if they were willing to be a child again. And when Jesus talks about you can't enter into the kingdom save you become a child,
right.
I think that's a spinoff of the same idea, that adventurous child again. And midlife is a chance to be a child again at the next stage of life. So you control whether the abuse continues or stops. Because now, as you grow older, you're new at this. And you can create the reality that's necessary that gives you the grace and the permission to not always be good at this, to stumble and fall and get up and walk again, to be tutored, to be mentored. And the same person who mentors you about body weight may not be the same person who mentors you about finances, may not be the same person that mentors you about business. So be open enough to be nurtured in the areas of your deficiency require that you are willing to be one again.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Chapter number 8, parenting. Did you see a difference in cross-gender parenting? How did you raise your son differently from how you were raised? And were you different with your son than you were with your daughter?
Yeah, absolutely. Even to this day, I still see the ramifications of having a heavy hand as a father. And I'm not talking about physical abuse. I'm saying the mentality is tough love and disciplinarian, sometimes being almost like tyrannic around the house if the room wasn't clean. I looked at everything as disrespect instead of a reflection of what could have been going on inside of my daughter. And I remember one day, I was writing my first book, Cry Like a Man, and I recalled a moment in time when my father was absent, and I broke down crying at my desk, and I ran to catch my daughter because she was going to school. I dropped to my knees in front of her, and I said, I'm so sorry for being the type of dad I was, but that's going to change. And she tried to make me feel better, saying, Dad, you were just trying to be protective. I said, no, that's not how God would parent you. And I had to, not only in that moment, reconcile, but it's been a journey because of a lot of what she went through. My son has a way better father than I was to her. And so I learned through that experience, especially when you're taught, especially don't spare the rod and all these other things. you know, after a child is 8 years old, if you haven't reared them up per se,
Right.
you lost this. You got to start, you know, at this point at 8, you need to be able to communicate with them like human beings.
Right.
You shouldn't have to resort to discipline and other things like that. Yes, there's forms of discipline that's needed throughout the journey, but with my son, I'm more patient. I apologize more. Whenever I'm wrong, I say, son, I'm sorry for that. Dad misread that, or I was wrong. I didn't do that with my daughter. You know, I still had the anger from not having my father around, and the insecurities, and I brought all that into my marriage. And instead of, I didn't know how to get it resolved. Therapy wasn't a thing back then.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and so, but that's one of my major regrets, is not parenting her with more love. I chose this. I was disciplined dad, and I
Yeah.
regret that. But with my son, I'm patient. Yes, he has the discipline piece as well, but I always understand that he has a cause and effect. If he's silent, I give him his space, and several times if he's in his room alone, I ask him, "Can I come in? You know, is it okay?" He'll say, "Yeah, cool." I just lay on the floor and maybe do some work, because I know he's doing his own thing. And as you were saying, it's more important to be present than perfect.
Right.
And so that's what I learned from parenting, and fathers. We need to convey the heart, not the anger as much. Like,
Right.
why are you angry?
Yeah.
It hurt me because I trusted you that you would do this. It hurt
Right.
me because you keep not doing this. Why? But that takes for us to do some more work so that we can undo what's preventing us from being patient.
Yeah. One of the strong suits of your ministry is that you show men how to do the work to be whole,
Yes,
and
sir.
how to relate to their children.
Yes.
And part of it is being able to apologize. And I learned that in my own life and raising my own children. It changed the trajectory of how I verbalize. Instead of using sign language like, you know, our fathers did,
Yeah,
they
for
used
sure.
sign language.
Yes, sir.
Come on,
Yeah.
let's get some ice cream.
Yeah,
You would never get "I'm sorry." You might get an ice cream cone out of
That's
it,
good.
but you would
Yeah.
never get "I'm sorry" out of it.